Today, if a brand wants to grow big, they need more than just loyal set of customers. They need customers who will engage with their brand. And when I say engage, spend money on the brand, as usual, buy them. But more than that, spend time on the brand. You need customers that will engage with other customers who use the same brand and discuss about the brand. In short, build a community. This topic talks about the 4 steps of brand building, or even called as 6 blocks of brand building, or also called as the brand resonance model. 3 names, 1 model, 1 pyramid. Now, when I talk about a pyramid, I'm talking about brands that start from the bottom and go to the top. Now, because it is a pyramid, not all brands can reach to the top. So at the bottom, you'll have many brands, but on the top, you'll just have a few brands occupying the leader space. Let's build this particular model in this video. Let's take the example of Royal Enfield or Harley Davidson. You don't just have loyal fans or customers who buy their particular products, but they even spend time going on bike rides with an entire group. In fact, Harley Davidson has a group called as the Harley Owners Group. That's exactly what we're aiming for in this video, is to build a community where people spend more time with your brand and, in short, resonate with your brand. Because once you do that, you are never going to fall and occupy a good space in the hearts of the consumers for a very long time. Let's start with the model. Well, as I said, this model has 4 steps, and these 4 steps together have 6 blocks. And we'll start building these blocks and go up. Let's start with the first stage, that is, who are you? And the block is known as the block of salience. Simple hai, ye block mein, the first thing is brand ko pehchanna. If customers don't recognize your brand is not going to go up and form a community and resonate with the audience. So first thing, salience, which includes recall and recognition. And when I talk about recall and recognition, 2 of the most famous brands in the world are Coca-Cola, the bottle can be recognized from anywhere, and McDonald's for its famous logo. Once you get your recall and recognition right, you can move up to the next stage. And the next stage is, what are you? In this case, step number 2, there are 2 blocks, the block of performance and the block of image. In the block of performance, it's ultimately that the brand has to perform. So in step 1, you identified the brand and salience. In this particular step 2, you need to make sure that the brand performs. And when I say performance, I talk about keywords such as features. For example, Apple's iPhone privacy feature. Or I talk about the reliability and durability of the brand. In this case, your Nike running shoes. Or it could be services, its efficiency and empathy around it. In this case, Marriott is one of the best brands in the world as far as service is concerned in the hospitality segment. Or under performance, number 4 could be style and design. In this case, the example could be Apple and the various products that they have, which have wonderful designs, thanks to the designer, Jonathan Ive, who was part of their team some time back. And number 5 is the pricing mechanism. Either it could be premium pricing, or it could be something like everyday low pricing. So that completes the block of performance. We are on the same stage, that is stage 2, but we're looking at the 3rd block and the block of imagery. In this case, the brand has to form a certain image in the minds of the customers. And in this case, there are 4 styles. The first comes the user imagery. Matlab jo brand use kar raha hai, uska image. In this case, Johnson & Johnson is the brand which is for babies and kids. Gillette, on the other hand, has a masculine approach. Victoria's Secret has a feminine approach. So that is called as user imagery. The next one is the usage imagery, as in when do you use the brand? Certain times you have to tell the customer that in certain situations, this is a brand that you use. For example, Gatorade is a sports drink. On the other hand, Eno is used for acidity and burps. Another fine example is of the brand Decathlon, which is associated with anything with outdoor activities. You don't use Decathlon for wedding outfits. The next up under the image is the brand personality, which we've discussed in one of our videos before, where we talk about 5 brand personalities: sincerity, excitement, competence, sophistication, and ruggedness. So your brand could fall in either of these categories or have a personality. And number 4 under image is image based on heritage and culture. Certain brands, their branding is done purely based on heritage. For example, Patanjali and Ayurveda, Taj Mahal Chai, which had the positioning of Vahataj, or one of the 7 wonders of the world. So we are done with step 2, right, which had 2 blocks of performance and imagery. Now we move on to step 3. The step 3 is what about you? And this includes 2 blocks, the blocks of judgment and feelings. When I talk about judgment, I'm talking about 4 keywords: quality, credibility, consideration, and superiority. In all these cases, you would feel the brand that you're using tops in all these 4 parameters. The best example in this case could be, for quality, could be Nike. For credibility, Google and the other services that Google provides. In case of consideration, Starbucks, because you have to ultimately consider the brand. So today, if somebody wants to have a coffee, Starbucks is something they would consider. And finally comes the element of superiority. In this case, you always see a lot of Apple versus Samsung users thinking that their smartphones are better than the other. That's it for judgment. Moving to the fifth block in the third stage, and that is a block of feeling. Now, certain brands generate certain kind of feelings. And to sum up, there are 6 feelings, which are easier to understand. Well, when it comes to feelings, there are several feelings. Number 1, warmth. A brand like Apple does give a feeling of warmth. Next, the feeling of fun. A brand like Disney, McDonald's or Xbox give feelings of fun. Next up is the feeling of excitement. In this case, brands like Red Bull, Durex, Victoria's Secret, they are all about excitement. Moving on to the feeling of security. Now, certain brands make you feel secure. In this case, flying by Singapore Airlines or Volvo cars. The element of security is high in these particular brands. The next feeling is of social approval. In this case, consumers feel that if they have certain brands or they use certain brands, people look at them favorably. It's like riding a favorite sports bike to college or driving a Mercedes car around town. It can also be having a good degree from a college like IIT-IM that elevates your social status. And finally, the last feeling, the feeling of self-respect. Brands like Whisper, Harley-Davidson, a bottle of single malt from Macallan, all these brands talk about the element of self-respect. And finally, we make it to the fourth stage. The stage is about what about you and me? And the block here is called as the block of resonance. In this case, there are 4 categories of customers. Number 1 are loyal customers who buy your products every month. For example, buying Harpic or Dettol for your house. You buy that on a regular basis, you're loyal to the particular brand. But then you start getting better as far as the customer is concerned. You may turn into someone like an advocate. In step 2, you become positively attached to the brand and you have a very positive attitude towards the brand. In this case, the consumers who swear by Starbucks coffee. Moving on to a better category, and in this case, category third is of forming a sense of community. Now, here you build a community around the brand and interact with customers who like the brand and use the brand. In this case, Xbox users, fans of clubs such as Real Madrid and Barcelona, or GOT coming up with the next series. So your community is formed where customers actually spend time and discuss about the brand. And finally, coming to the fourth category in the block of resonance, and that is active engagement. Now here the customer is loyal, positive attitude, a community is formed, but they want something more. They connect with the customers. In this case, the best example is of Harley-Davidson, which has its own community called as the Harley Owners Group. Now, in this case, apart from having the usual lives from Monday to Saturday, the users of these brands also take out their bikes and go on long rides and spend time with other customers who have the same bike. The same example goes for Royal Enfield or Thar, which have these expeditions in the forest where other users of Thar connect with each other. That's the kind of resonance needs to be built around a particular brand, right? So this brings an end to the model, which had 4 stages and 6 blocks. And if you want your brand to reach on the top and stay on top, make sure that customers resonate with your brand. Thank you and easy.